evening and welcome to the Left, Right and Centre. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. As the BJP demands a CBI probe against Virbhadra Singh, calling it a test for Rahul Gandhi, we ask tonight, have the BJP and the Congress both lost the anti-corruption plank after the Aam Admi Party's dramatic entry? Also on the show, as we bid farewell to Farooq Sheikh, two of his closest colleagues and friends in the industry, Shabana Azmi and Deepthi Naval, share their memories of the talented actor. Well, even before the Congress could swing into damage control action after Rahul Gandhi's stand on Maharashtra's other scam, the BJP has dumped yet another corruption charge, this time on the Congress Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, Virbhadra Singh. A letter with nearly 200 pages of documents has been sent to the Prime Minister asking for action. The BJP is calling this a test for Rahul Gandhi after his anger over the Adarsh issue.
That in the last few decades, not years, the kind of corruption cases I have seen, there is nothing more open and shut than this. ये परीक्षा सोनिया गांधी जी और श्री राहुल गांधी की भी है. इन तथ्यों को देखकर भी उनको क्रोध और आक्रोश आता है कि नहीं आता. और इसके ऊपर तय होगा कि उनका जो आदर्श में जो महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने किया, उसको देखकर जो उनको आक्रोश आता है, वो ईमानदारी से आता था कि केवल पुट ऑन था.
If Mr. Jaitley has evidence, let him put it. Let's wait for the Prime Minister to take cognizance of whatever information he has.
Whether Adarsh or Snoopgate or any of the other scams in the past 5 years, neither the BJP nor the Congress has managed to get the upper hand. And the argument over who is more serious about fighting it continues.
If you are serious about this, and if the country is actually serious about this, and if the country actually wants to do something about this, we are blocked in the Parliament House.
अगर उनको इतनी ही चिंता है राहुल गांधी जी को भ्रष्टाचार की जो उनकी सरकार के द्वारा किया जा रहा है, तो वो 2G की रिपोर्ट के ऊपर टिप्पणी करते हैं, वो कोलगेट के ऊपर टिप्पणी करते हैं.
Both the BJP and Congress leadership have conceded there are lessons to be learned from the Aam Admi Party. But is it too late for them to learn the lesson on fighting corruption? As the new kid on the block hijacked one of the biggest political planks, second only to inflation, from right under the noses of the big two.
Anti-corruption plank cannot be taken away by a party which has not performed as yet.
Despite the Congress and the BJP claiming credit for anti-corruption measures like the Lokpal, it would not have happened without pressure from Anna and a nudge from the humble broom, which has swept away grandiose statements by getting straight to the heart of the people. Even if they are yet to sweep away corruption itself, the Aam Admi Party has certainly appropriated the fight against it. NDTV Bureau Report.
Well, joining us on this discussion tonight, Pinky Anand of the BJP, here in the studio with us, Raghav Chatta of the Aam Admi Party and Dilip Padgaonkar. We're also going to be joined by a representative of the Congress very soon. But let me get to the BJP straight away. You're saying Rahul Gandhi's anger against corruption is artificial. This, of course, after that very public rebuke to the Maharashtra government. Now, why do you posit this as a test case for it? Is this in a way both the BJP and the Congress grandstanding on the anti-corruption plank because you feel that this is something the Aam Admi Party has literally snatched away from you?
You know, Ankita, what really is confronting us today and what is becoming evident to the entire masses is not the only issue of anti-corruption, so to say. What is happening is this entire attempt by the Congress government to try to project Rahul Gandhi in a different light while continuing to perform their corrupt actions as far as, in particular in this case, for example, Adarsh, and to try to have Rahul Gandhi speak out as if he is taking up the planks or the cudgels against this issue. It is this duplicity which is being brought out actually, not so much only the fact of anti-corruption movement. The question is today, is Rahul Gandhi only making this a facade? Is this only a tamasha which he is trying to bring forth and to say, you know, I am taking up cudgels against corruption, and therefore even though the Congress government is totally siding with the Adarsh scam and with the ministers who are involved in shelving the report of the committee altogether, Rahul Gandhi ji is suddenly coming out as a savior of everybody. So that is the action that one is portraying, the duplicity and the manipulation by the Congress and the attempt to try to make, let's see the case of the ordinance. The Congress brings out the ordinance, Dr. Manmohan Singh, the Prime Minister, brings it out, and while he is in US, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has a press conference tearing up, or at least claiming to tear up the ordinance. I mean, that is the kind of duplicity that one is trying to bring out to the people of this country.
Let me bring
this is only an attempt.
Let me bring in Dilip Patgaonkar at this point. Whether it's ordinance or others, the BJP is accusing the Congress in a sense almost of a contrived anger. Arun Jaitley describes this as manufactured dissent aimed at image correction. Is it really that? Is it actually a genuine expression of opinion, or is this a belated attempt at trying to get back the anti-corruption agenda?
Ankita, the fact of the matter is that the advent of the Aam Admi Party has seen both the Congress and the BJP tie themselves up in knots. In the case of Rahul Gandhi, you might call his anger contrived. You might even raise questions about the manner in which he's been going about tearing up ordinances or directing the Maharashtra state government to review its position on the Adarsh report. But the fact of the matter is that as far as the anti-corruption plank is concerned, Arvind Kejriwal and his people have ensured that these two parties are up in knots. For example, today, the BJP has raised the question about corruption, about Virbhadra Singh. But the fact of the matter is that yesterday we learned that Mr. Yadurappa, who is of course not the squeaky clean image that one expects, is about to re-enter the BJP. So I think what the Aam Admi Party has done is to put both these parties on the defensive. They are in the search for an effective strategy to counter the Aam Admi Party. I don't see that happening, and you therefore find that these various statements emanating from both these parties in the past 2 weeks really testify to a degree of nervousness which I haven't seen any time before. I think primarily the BJP seems to be even more nervous, and hence this extraordinary statement made by Nitin Gadkari about some kind of a deal that was struck thanks to a businessman between the Congress and the Aam Admi Party. Now, unless you are upfront, unless you are transparent about what you say, I think each such gaffe is only going to enhance the credibility and the image of the Aam Admi Party. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay, so quick thoughts from the Aam Admi Party. No, yes. Picky a moment here while I get a quick thought in from the Aam Admi Party. Raghav Chatta, talk about that a little. Do you see this as a betrayal of nervousness on the part of the BJP, or for that matter from the Congress? We've seen a great deal in a sense of grandstanding from them on the matter of corruption as well. Do you see this as the AAP effect?
I personally don't see it as a race between the Congress or the BJP or the Aam Admi Party to come forward and bring in an anti-corruption law or to change the rules of the game. I look at it as something which has been close to our heart, to have an empowered and an accountable Lokpal. It's something which is close to our heart, and we'll continue to fight for an anti-corruption system. As far as the BJP and the Congress are concerned, I would again say that it's the entire system which is rotten and which we want to change.
But we saw near unanimity in Parliament. We saw the BJP and the Congress coming together in the passage of the Lokpal bill.
Yeah, now speaking of which, now if that Lokpal, if we go by that Lokpal, the selection committee which would appoint the Lokpal, it would essentially be government dominated. It would be the Prime Minister, the opposition leader, and few other people of the government.
So you still see that as an eyewash?
Now we see for example, the Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, he would be one of the people appointing the Lokpal who would in some ways investigate cases against him. So what we are trying to say that it is not an independent Lokpal which has been passed, and even the members of the Lokpal would still would be under the administrative control of the state machinery. So this is precisely what we are against. Our stand is very clear. It is something that we are passionate about. It is something which is very close to our heart, and we'll continue to fight for it.
Let's bring the Congress in. The BJP is accusing you today of an artificially contrived anger. They're saying here we're bringing in front of you an open shut corruption case. In fact, three separate cases that are being talked about and documents to prove it, Sanjay Jha. This is a test case for the Congress leadership to act.
Ankita, I have always been very impressed by the duplicitous conduct of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Some time ago, when Mr. Narendra Modi was in Mumbai and talking about the Adarsh case, he conveniently misled the people of India by not talking about the fact that the former president of BJP, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, has his own relatives in Adarsh having roughly 9 Benami flats. So, I read Mr. Jaitley's blog as well. It has the usual self-righteousness that you expect from the BJP. What Mr. Jaitley does not say, what Mr. Jaitley does not tell you is that Mr. Narendra Modi has not allowed the prosecution of Purushottam Solanki, indicted by the Gujarat High Court for a rupees 400 crore scam. So, let's get down to the facts here, Ankita. I think ever since Mr. Gandhi, that day the Press Club of India, rubbished the ordinance which the entire political system was actually rationalizing, including the BJP, barring a few MPs from a couple of other parties. I think it's changed the complete perception of the fact that was being wrongly created, that the Congress is going soft on corruption. And I'll address the issue head on. We have been at the receiving end for the last couple of years.
You do know that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is actually
being made against
for that
XYZ. But when Mr. Gandhi, forget the method. Mr. Gandhi himself mentioned it explicitly in the FICCI conference. Don't worry about it. Mr. Gandhi addresses press conferences. Pinky, he addresses press conferences. He answers questions. Ankita, if you can just let her permit me to finish.
Yes, go ahead very quickly. And
the point is that the ordinance is a game changer. It will stop convicted politicians from contesting elections. It's a fact. To attribute that to a nervousness, well, everyone has their own view, but the truth is it's changed the game at the ground level. Number two, he was critical in ensuring that there was political consensus, because I can tell you a lot of political parties were pussyfooting around and not very convinced that they had to get the Lokpal bill through. And therefore, that credit to a great extent for making it reach the last mile needs to go to the Congress party and Mr. Gandhi. So I think even on others, here you have one last point. Mr. Gandhi, despite the fact that this is a state issue, and despite the fact that this issue needs to be handled by the state cabinet, has said, I would like them to reconsider a decision. So we have been very transparent here.
But let's be very clear that BJP itself brought it up in Rajya Sabha in 2011. This movement has been going on for the Lokpal bill, and our objections of Mr. Jaitley and otherwise are on record. In fact, it is because these objections are not considered that BJP was having cudgels with the lack of independence of the Lokpal, and therefore was not going along with it. It went to the select committee, those were accepted to a major extent. And thereafter, the Congress also finally gave in to the BJP's two demands for not transferring officers and for ensuring that they didn't get notice at the time of any investigation, at which point BJP finally also at this stage got in with the UPA government to allow the bill to be passed. As far as Mr. Rahul Gandhi's statement is concerned, what my friend is saying from the Congress, to say that Mr. Rahul Gandhi was right in his action of rubbishing the ordinance, please understand that Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself has apologized. I was there at a FICCI discussion. Let's apologize in public for the statements made. And thirdly, just one thing what Dilip had said about Virbhadra Singh and saying that
focus on
BJP
the bottom line,
suddenly become anxious in the last 2 weeks. I must tell him that Virbhadra Singh and action against him has been postulated by the BJP more than a couple of years back, before the Aam Admi Party was nowhere in the picture also, I might say that. So to say that it's because of Aam Admi Party, I mean, BJP brought up the 2G, BJP brought up the Colgate, BJP brought up the CWG scandal. So to say that this is because of the Aam Admi Party is not the case. But Aam Admi Party has definitely picked this up as a platform.
Fair enough, but I'd like to bring up the other point that Dilip made, which is that, whether it was Rahul Gandhi's endeavor to provide a robust anti-corruption framework or the BJP bringing these issues up time and time again, don't you believe that your electoral compulsions are actually throwing up a lot of very bizarre contradictions, whether it's your alliance with B.S. Yedurappa or whether it's, the Congress allying with Lalu Prasad? How are you going to explain those to the electorate?
No, you are right. There are various questions that are coming up, which are coming up before the elections at this point of time, and we have to take various factors into account. The Aam Admi Party has an inherent advantage because it has no background whatsoever. It's starting on a fresh slate, so anything it does is only forward and there's nothing to defend for. But in politics, you have to reconcile the situation of protecting the rights of people, of ensuring that you are able to get not only the fact that you have an anti-corruption movement, because that cannot go for the longest way ever. You have to talk about governance at some point. You have to govern the country, not only rid it of its only corrupt factors.
So those
are features that have to come into account.
Pinky Anand thinks you have an advantage because there's this clean slate, but at the same time you have a disadvantage because of your lack of experience when it comes to governance or administration.
See, I completely agree with the fact that there is a slight lack of experience as far as governance is concerned, but at the same point, at the same time, the kind of people who have been governing don't come with such phenomenal backgrounds, like for example, the education minister in Delhi. Does he have a very strong educational background? No. So it is not rocket science. There is state machinery, there are people, there are experts in this country, and you just have to have the right sort of political will.
It's in being experienced in governance. That is the issue.
No, I'm glad that we don't have that experience. I'm glad that we don't have that experience of corruption and the experience of malgovernance, and we are starting afresh. We are trying to rewrite the political grammar of this country.
We're rewriting the political grammar of the country. Well, you know, sort of powerful words there. Dilip and Gaukar come in at this point by taking up both corruption, of course, in a very fundamental way, but also the issue of price rise. Has the Aam Admi Party, in fact, hijacked the twin pole planks of the BJP?
You know, quite beyond these two issues, which it has been able to tap extremely successfully, I think the Aam Admi Party is proving to be an extraordinary catalyst. And I say catalyst because it is questioning all the assumptions that political parties make about winning elections. And perhaps the one element which each of these parties will have to revise is they have gone on the criterion of winnability. I think they'll have to revise these criteria of winnability, because the Aam Admi has fielded people who are unknown, completely unknown, and look at the manner in which they've been able to get votes, cutting across all your traditional vote banks, whether these are of caste, of community, of class, doesn't matter. And I see this happening. I think the reverberations of what happened in Delhi are to be felt absolutely across the country, particularly in the metropolitan centers. I live in Pune, and let me tell you, in Pune, wherever I go, no one is really talking the way one did talk earlier about Narendra Modi. I think Kejriwal and to some extent Rahul Gandhi have taken much of the limelight away from Mr. Modi. The reasons have to be now clearly understood by the BJP. Why is this happening? I understand that there is some internal report of the party which reflects on these issues. It would be good for us, for the public, to know what these reasons are. But the fact is, Kejriwal and to some extent Rahul have taken the limelight away from Mr. Narendra Modi.
Sanjay Jha and Pinky Anand, I'd like both of you to respond to that. But Sanjay Jha, you first. We've also had senior leaders within the Congress, Digvijay Singh, articulate the same sentiment, if not in those precise words. He said, you know, there were things to learn that the Aam Admi Party and Arvind Kejriwal tried to do what the Congress did, in fact, what the Congress tried to set out to do. Do you believe now that there is a very real fear in your party that there could be a kind of national anti-corruption wave that could see the Aam Admi Party perhaps capturing many more seats than anybody thought they could do before their spectacular debut in Delhi?
You know, Ankita, let me use this platform to dispel the notion that the Congress party has tried to be soft on corruption. In fact, we are the ones who passed a real fundamental anti-corruption law and pro-transparency law in the Right to Information Act, and thereafter even the Lokpal. Now there is somebody from the AAP party who's critical of it, but the truth is that this Lokpal bill is workable, is practical. It actually marries efficiency with effectiveness. So that, of course, the time will prove going into the future. But, you know, end of day, I don't think that a party in India, you know, we welcome always a new alternative. It's a beauty of democracy to have new outlets for people to find their preferences in.